bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review. Today I will be talking about A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This is a book that I had my eye on for a while. I've been wanting to read it, but I thought it was one of those "is she crazy or are there ghosts" type of a book, which is highly inaccurate. What the book is actually about is about a family told from a point of view of the younger sister Mary, and when her older sister Marjorie starts acting strange and is obviously unwell, the family decide first to turn to a psychiatrist, but then they decide to turn to the church thinking that she might be actually possessed. In addition, due to some financial difficulties, the family decide to let a camera crew into the house and film a documentary about Marjorie's exorcism. So let's get right into it. This book was a lot heavier, more realistic and creepier than I thought it would be. This was a page turner, but not really something that I would describe as entertaining. You know, it's like watching a really well-made movie about the Holocaust. Can you really say you enjoyed it? The thing is that I thought it was a ghost story, and it's not. This book is also categorized as horror, and I don't really agree with that as well. This is basically a very tragic story of a family that's falling apart, told from the point of view of an 8-year-old that sees her big sister turns to this monster, basically. Although when I think about it, maybe horror is appropriate here, because even though it's not a classic horror story and there aren't any, real ghosts or demon or supernatural elements here, seeing someone you love deteriorate like that is truly horrific, which is maybe a good place for me to put in a trigger warning. Look, you know what you can deal with and what you can't, but if you experience a family member or friend, just anyone, turning from a lively person to a shadow of their former selves, this may trigger some unpleasant memories. As I said, the book tries to be very realistic and focuses mostly on the family and how it affects them as they basically fall apart, how the mother stretches so thin she's a nervous wreck, and how the father turns to religion and basically invites a priest to the house in desperation to perform an exorcism on his daughter. I think different people will have different reactions to the parents, which is very interesting. For me, I absolutely hated the father character. I thought it was the bad guy here, the antagonist of the story. But I don't know, maybe more religious people will side with the father and will be angry at the mother for not supporting him in this fantasy that there is some magical creature out there who loves them and can supernaturally, magically fix everything, even though if he's so omnipotent, why didn't he just prevent the entire thing from happening in the first place? Excuse my cynicism, but has it been a real-life case? Maybe sticking to actual medicine and psychiatry and treatment would have actually saved this entire family. Speaking of, this isn't entirely fictional. I'm pretty sure the author at least was somewhat inspired by the real-life case of Anneliese Michel, a German young woman who died in the 70s after a series of failed exorcisms. Many people today believe she was just epileptic or ill in some other, physical way, but her Catholic family decided to turn to the church instead of doctors, and after a year of horrible failed treatments, exorcisms, she died of malnutrition and dehydration, weighing less than 70 pounds at the age of, I think, 24. But let's go back to the book. Despite its heaviness and utter bleakness, I really recommend it if you think that you can handle it. And even though I really hated the father character, I thought it was a good thing in the book, like showing two different parents, two different people and how they deal with it. But if I have to point out one thing that I actually disliked about the book, it was one of the two framing devices. And we do start in our present, where a grown-up Mary meets an author who wants to write a book about the entire case and the exorcism, and Mary basically tells her story. But then we're introduced to another framing device, which I absolutely hated. We get blog entries from a blogger who reviews this documentary, you know, that the filming crew filmed of Marjorie's exorcism. And I hated, I couldn't stand these blog entries. First, they don't add anything to the story. All she does is repeat what we already read with very basic and empty interpretations and tons of pop culture reference to show us that she saw a lot of movies. And secondly, the way she writes is so irritating. If it was a real blog or a real YouTube channel, I would have stopped reading or listening after about a minute. And God, it was so irritating and really disturbing the narrative. And I just wish that this entire blog subplot was just not in the book at all. But other than that, the book was great. It was very depressing and tragic and sad and bleak, and the ending is absolutely devastating, but at least we have the comfort knowing that Mary survived the ordeal and lives at least long enough to tell her story. It's not a classic horror story, it's not a ghost story, but if you're looking for a drama about a family who have to deal with the situation of one of their members becoming very ill, then you found it. And that's basically all I have to say about A Head Full of Ghosts, which was definitely an interesting and different experience than what I thought at the beginning. And this is also the ending of this video. Guys, thank you for watching and bearing with me. I know my voice is a little lower than usual. It's due to the season changing. I am not sick. I don't have corona. Thank you for asking. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to click like to show your support and also subscribe to my channel if you dare. And write down in the comment section if you ever came across a book that ended up being completely different, maybe a different genre than what you expected, and it turned out to be really great or really awful. Share that as well. So guys, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.